I'm so old, I never went to middle school. I went to junior high school. When I attended in 1960s, that's what it was called. And when I started junior high school, I was new in town, and that made it even harder. I needed an affinity group. I didn't fit in with the jocks. I didn't fit in with the artsy kids. And God knows I didn't fit in with the brainiacs. So I joined the Brotherhood of Losers. There's a group like that in every school. We didn't care about anything. We didn't listen to anybody. Our motto was, "You're not the boss of me."
That's right.
The truth is, we were punks. We thought we were always a little bit ahead of the administration at our school until they came up with a new discipline plan and they blew us out of the water. This plan was called "Let the punishment fit the crime." Under these new rules, if you were caught drawing on walls, writing on walls, you had to spend an hour after school scrubbing the walls in the bathrooms. If you were caught running in the halls, you had to spend an hour after school running up and down the halls carrying every book you had. And then there was the pièce de résistance. If you were caught fighting in school, you had to spend an hour sitting at a table with the knucklehead you were fighting with, holding his hand. I know, cruel and unusual punishment, right? They had us by the short hairs.
That was fantastic.
We had to figure out how to turn the tables. And we finally got an answer. It took a while, but we finally did. We had to show them some behaviors that were so outrageous and so dangerous that they would never want to see them again after school. Let me give you 2 examples. Social studies class, just a sweltering day towards the end of the school year. We're in a classroom on the 2nd floor of the building. Every window is open so more sweltering air could come in, so we didn't miss anything. And we had a substitute teacher. In educational circles, that's known as the perfect storm. And sure enough, right after the class got started, we were all of a sudden just in this state of generalized mayhem. My friend Scott gets up, throws his hands in the air, and he says, "I can't take any more of this." And he walks over to the closest window, and he jumps out. We're standing there, sitting in our seats in silence with our mouths open, like the front rows here. Even the substitute teacher was sitting there with his mouth open. And my friend Kevin chooses this time to get up, swear his dying allegiance to Scott, and jump out another window. We started to move towards the windows, everybody in the room, even the substitute teacher. But we didn't move very fast because nobody wanted to be the first one to see the gruesome scene that we knew was waiting for us. But here's the thing. This classroom was on the 2nd floor, but it was also over the main entrance to the school. So it was covered by a flat roof from the driveway to the front door. And the top of that roof was about 4 feet below the windows in our classroom. So when we got there, we didn't see any gruesome scenes. We saw Scott and Kevin sitting on the roof, grinning up at us like a couple of Cheshire cats. Losers 1, Administration, 0. On another occasion, we were in Mrs. R's math class. My friend Freddie, this was the day of the final exam, and he had missed a lot of math classes, and he didn't like his chances. So he raised his hand. He said, Mrs. R, may I go to the bathroom, please? Mrs. R was not a substitute teacher, and this was not her first rodeo. She said, no. So he persisted. He said, Mrs. R, he raised his hand. He said, Mrs. R, I feel like I'm getting a fever. May I please go see the nurse? She says, no, you may not, Freddie. And this time there was a little edge in her voice. So Freddie decides to go all in. He rolls up his sleeve. He pulls a can of lighter fluid out of his pocket. He squirts it on his arm, pulls out his Zippo, lights it up, and he holds up his flaming hand and says, Mrs. R, I'm burning up with fever. I need to go see the nurse. And she let him go. By the end of that week, let the punishment fit the crime was done. Game over.